Good evening. It is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, 7 p.m., and I'd like to call to order the Ottawa City Commission meeting. Can I have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Graves,
Present.
Commissioner Kaler,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore,
Present.
Mayor Crowley.
Present. We are all present tonight. I'd like to welcome everybody, whether you're in person or watching us on some sort of media. We will start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by John Holzhuter, the Ottawa University chaplain. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great things happen when God mixes with us. Let us join then in prayer. God, folk are called here to witness. Witness to see what is going on in our world and to make things better. Witness to testify with what they feel is doing the right reason. Witness to Marteri to care about our community so much that they wish to make it a better place. Fill them with grace, fill them with candor, fill them with strength, and make us all body parts in your family to build a verdant world. And also, please, be with those who are impacted right now by war and help those families stay together. We ask this all in your name. Amen.
Thank you, John. That'll move us on to the consent agenda, which is the minutes from the January 24th study session, the January 31st study session, the February 14th study session, the February 16th regular meeting, and the February 21st study session. Do I have a motion for approval?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion's approved. That'll move us on to our, well, actually, Richard, I hear we have a special guest with us tonight, if you'd like to introduce him.
We do. Thank you, Commissioners. Richard Ninestead, City Manager. And we have joining us by Zoom tonight, Michael Hall, who is our new Community Development Director, and he will begin on March 21st. And I thought Michael might like to introduce himself to you. He currently is, I believe, Chief of Planning with the City of Topeka. I thought he might have a few words for you, and then we can go on with the meeting. So, Michael, it's all yours.
Michael, we can't hear you. Just more of a reason to get him here faster, Richard.
Live is always better.
We can,
Do we want to let Michael
Yeah,
maybe
Mike
work
just-
that out and then
Yep.
come back here in a few minutes?
Michael, we'll move forward with the agenda, and we'll come back and check on you again.
You might have Tom's computer maybe.
All right.
So early.
That moves us on to our regular agenda. Do we have any public comments tonight?
None this evening.
Thank you. I'll dispense with reading that paragraph. That moves us on to item 9, which is our declaration. At this time, I'd like to give the commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication they've had that might influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially. Seeing none, we'll move on. That moves us on to item 10.
Recognizing March as Healthcare Professionals Appreciation Month.
The City of Ottawa is grateful for the sacrifices these devoted individuals make each day to increase the safety and quality of life for our citizens of Ottawa. Brenda Fisenmeyer, Franklin County Director of Public Health, will accept the proclamation on behalf of those listed in the proclamation, and it will be read by our Commissioner Graves.
The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas healthcare professionals, healthcare support staff, patient access staff, first responders, and caregivers risk their own safety in the performance of their duties to save citizens of Ottawa during this pandemic. And whereas these brave individuals, which include doctors, nurses, hospital staff, nursing home and long-term care staff, emergency medical services, law enforcement, and emergency management dedicate their lives to increasing the safety and quality of life of the citizens of Ottawa. And whereas these healthcare professionals are our first and best defense against this pandemic. And whereas these devoted individuals have been responsible for providing care in the challenging conditions of danger and uncertainty. And whereas our city is grateful for the sacrifices of our healthcare professionals make every day. And whereas the dedication, commitment, and courage of all healthcare professionals worldwide deserve our deepest gratitude and admiration, whose service has saved countless lives. And now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby proclaim the month of March 2022 as Healthcare Professionals Appreciation Month, and asks the citizens of Ottawa to recognize the dedication of all healthcare professionals in our city and throughout the world for the vital role they play in enhancing and saving lives every day. Signed this second day of March 2022 by our Mayor, Eric Crowley.
Thank you, Commissioner Graves. Brenda, do you want to come up and say a few things?
Yeah, and I'd like to have Chelsea, Keith, and Aaron, Lori join me. That'd be great. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, yes, so great. And I guess I will go. Oh, we're gonna. All right, I like that idea. That's great. Wonderful.
We're gonna take a couple. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Take another one. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, great. All right. Well, thank you everyone for having us here this evening. I do appreciate that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for the proclamation to show all the work that has been done the last 2 years in the pandemic. Joining me this evening is Aaron Lori and Chelsea Keith, and I know many, many people know them, and they know all the hard work that they have done the last 2 years. They have definitely played a very vital part in taking care of our citizens here in Franklin County. They and many others did an outstanding job, and their hard work will always be remembered. I am blessed to live and work in Franklin County, where everyone helped each other in these unprecedented times. I want to thank the many organizations that came together to serve our community when our community needed us the most. There were many long days, a lot of stress, and many emotions. However, together we rose. We are stronger, we are better, and we will use what we learned to save lives. Dr. Ransom is recommending that we continue to do what we're doing until the incidence in Franklin County is lower. Of course, we don't have a mask mandate. We just recommend that you wear a mask, do social distancing until our positivity rate is 2 to 3%. But the great news is those numbers are improving each and every day and each and every week. So thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, for all that you do for the City of Ottawa, and for recognizing again the hundreds of people that came together to serve Franklin County.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Brenda.
All right.
All right, we're gonna circle back to Michael, see if he's got over his shyness. Michael, are you there now?
Let's see if this can work this time. Do you hear me now?
We can. Welcome.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, that's my first encounter with some adversity, I guess, in the city of Ottawa. So,
If that's the worst we get.
You're doing really great.
Great hire.
but anyway, it's really nice to be able to talk to you tonight. I appreciate the city manager inviting me to join with you. I feel like I have one foot in Ottawa and one foot in Topeka, and pretty soon I'll have both feet in Ottawa. This might, for at least a while, feel like the longest 2 or 3 weeks of my life because I'm anxious to get there. But I have some unfinished business and owe them a little more of my time here. But just excited and look forward to working with everybody. And I feel that spirit of teamwork there, and I want to be part of it. So thank you. I wish you well.
Michael, thank you. We're anxious to get you here, and me as a contractor, I'm going to be dealing with you a little bit more than just on the commission side. So
Okay.
get ready.
All right.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Good.
That will move us on to item 11.
Request for approval to begin bidding process for 2022 street improvements, rehabilitation plan.
This plan outlines streets which have been identified by staff as needing rehabilitation for this year, and I believe Dennis Starp will walk us through this.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, we have looked at this a couple of weeks now, and you have had it in front of you. What we have here is about 26 projects. Now, that doesn't mean 26 blocks or anything like that. We have about 26 projects that we have identified as being the most meaningful for us in 2022 to get accomplished. In those projects, we have a little bit of mill and overlay and a little bit of chip and seal. And with that, we have an engineer's estimate of about $177,000. In our street rehab budget, we had budgeted for about $250,000. So we feel like we're in a good place. We never know what these bids these days, especially what these bids are going to come back at. But we look forward to getting this out and getting started on these projects. I'll answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Dennis? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion we approve item number 12 on our agenda.
Thank you. Do we have
And
a
I will
second?
second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Mayor Crowley?
And I vote yes, too. That
Thanks,
motion is
y'all.
approved. Thank you, Dennis.
Say, Dennis, real quick question. I know people in town are starting to ask questions about the pothole repairs. We have a plan in place, or has that started?
We have not started on pothole repairs. That will happen here before too awful long.
Okay.
Some of that is dependent on weather at this point in time. We can do some when it's cold. We prefer to do it when it warms up a little bit. So there is a plan in place to start hitting some of those.
Fantastic. All right, great. Thanks.
And if some people wonder, some of those remaining funds is what covers those pothole repairs,
That's
correct?
a piece of it, at least.
Right.
Yes, there are some funds specifically for pothole repair too.
Good. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. That will move us on to item 12.
Request for approval of new cereal malt beverage license for On Q at 111 North Main Street.
The license would allow for the sale of cereal malt beverage for use and consumption on the licensed premises. And it says Melissa. Is she available, or will somebody else be addressing that?
I'm happy to do that.
All right,
If you will grant me 1 second.
certainly.
While you're looking for that, just a comment. I think I said it made a motion of item number 12. I meant my motion should have been item number 11. I was a step ahead. Whoever's taking notes.
Poor Melissa.
That would be me as well.
Come on, Melody.
Give you one
Keep
more
up.
thing
You know,
to do while you're.
I can fill in some, if you'd like, I can fill in some area. This is kind of a standard process that we do. In the city of Ottawa, where when there are new requests. And this was really on our last agenda, and we've addressed this a couple different times on our last study session agenda. So if anybody is looking at this and really has some deep questions, it might be worthy for them to go back to the February 28th agenda and look at that particular application and the conversation that was had regarding that issue.
I'm sorry, I don't have the
That's all
item.
right. Melissa, I saw your name pop up on the screen. Are you available?
I am. I'm here.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, just a regular CMB license request.
All right. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Melanie, Melissa, or Sarah?
Actually, no, I guess it actually was on the 21st.
Okay.
It was on the 21st schedule, or on the 21st study session, page 5.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hearing no questions, do we have a motion?
I'll move that we approve the CMB license for On-Q that is located at 111 North Main.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
And I vote yes.
Mayor Crowley?
I vote yes too. That motion is approved. That will move us on to item 13.
Request for approval to purchase new fire engine.
Staff will outline options for purchasing and financing a new fire engine in 2022, which will be brought to us by Chief Matthias. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm not going to move this. I just want to look like I'm moving it up and
Yeah,
down
exactly.
because everybody else has done it so tonight. But
You can go down and back up,
yeah,
and whatever you need to
down,
do.
up, down. But anyway, good evening. This has been before you a few times here lately, and we're ready to move forward. And I appreciate your willingness to work through this process. This has been one of the more stressing processes that I've been through on the trucks, just for the pricing and the delivery times. And so it's been a little bit frustration, but I believe that we have the best truck for Ottawa. And that truck is through Pierce Manufacturing out of Appleton, Wisconsin. It was low bid at $763,775.06. If you believe that's low bid, that's kind of hard to swallow. But we did go out for one other bid, and it's within $2,000. So we feel like we've gotten a fair representation across the board and ready to move forward. And I believe Ms. Landis has some information on the financing side.
Before we get to the financing
Sure.
side, and what, please, do you recall what the last purchase price was of the last engine that we spent?
I believe 636, something like 636,000.
And how many years ago was that?
That was 2017. So just within that time, it's went up,
5 years.
yeah, $100,000.
And is this fire truck dramatically different than the one that we received in 2017?
No, I don't think you'll be able to see a difference once it comes into town. They're set up the same, pretty much identical. So
But the one that we received, or the one that we not received, the one that we purchased in 2017 has been a good,
absolutely,
sturdy
yeah.
vehicle for us and has been reliable for the needs of the Ottawa Fire
Yes.
Department.
Yes, and for Pierce, Pierce Manufacturing has a full service department up in Olathe, which we work with them on a weekly basis, it seems like. And so years ago, that was a big draw. Now a lot of them will have mobile mechanics come down. So we still like having Conrad equipment up in Olathe. They just moved to a new building last year, and so they offer quite a few more options on maintenance. So yeah, we'll be pleased with this one.
Chief, just so the public knows real quick, sorry, Melanie. If they haven't been watching the study session and just are watching tonight, they don't expect to drive by tomorrow and see the truck parked out front.
That is correct. We're looking at about 10 to 11 month delivery time. So once that gets closer, we'll have a ceremony, once it gets in town. We're even maybe kicking around the option of naming it. Some departments do around the country, of naming it. So we might have a little contest to name it.
Great idea. Thank you.
All right.
We did have a tremendous amount of, a lot of information that was on our previous study session. So if individuals are looking at it and thinking that
Correct.
this is like, as Mayor Crowley had said, this isn't the first time we've discussed this, and if individuals would like to read more about it, they certainly can do that in our previous packets.
Absolutely. And if they have any, questions that they still have, they can contact me at the fire station. So, yep.
All right, I don't think anybody's going to interrupt you this time.
Not now.
That's okay. That's okay. I have just some basic information. Originally, when we had talked about this during the 2022 budget session last year, we talked about the reality and the need for having to do a lease purchase for this. And in a couple of our conversations, we've talked about the option is there for, there's an equipment financing company that works directly with Pierce to provide either a straight lease purchase or a turn-in option. with them. And if we were to choose that route, we could choose either one of those, and they offer a 5, 7, or 10-year lease option. The turn-in option, we talked a little bit about this at a previous session. In the future might be a good possibility for us. At this point, the way that works is you make 5 larger payments, and then, or 6, depending on what you choose, and then you would turn around and make either a balloon payment if you wanted to keep the fire truck, or if you wanted to return it to them. Then you would need to purchase another, you would have ordered it a year in advance, but you'd be purchasing another replacement at that amount or higher, and then you would basically just continue a payment with a new payment plan. So that option is out there. Both of their options are fairly consistent with what I think we would see through our local banks, and we might even get a better interest rate through our local banks. If we were to choose to go with our local bank option, we would wait until the truck is delivered or close to that time, and then we would go out for bid on the rates. So of course that does also put us at a small disadvantage in not knowing exactly where we're going to be in 10 or 11 months. But on the flip side, we would be then in the hands of our local businesses who, our local banks, who have, a lot of them our best interest in mind. So those are the two options really. Within there's probably 7 or 8 options out of the 2 different routes or 3 different routes that we could take. But in our conversation, even earlier today, we were discussing how our preference would be that we would move with eventually doing a lease purchase through our local banks and putting out an RFP for or bidding for interest rates when we do have that truck delivered. And I believe there was a question, Mary, you'd asked at the last session. There was on the quote sheet the option for prepayment. That is, if you were to pay the entire amount, you would get about a $19,000 discount. And if we're going to do it locally, we won't have that available to us, but we also don't know exactly where we would end up in rates, so we may be able to make that up, with that process. Do you have questions about that at all?
I certainly like the idea of using the local bank for sure. We don't know where rates will be in 10 months. I mean, that's the only downfall to that, but certainly keeping everything local is a wonderful idea.
So I believe that what we would be doing here at this point is just getting your approval to move ahead with the purchasing of the truck. And I believe that the fire engine, I want to call it a truck and cause confusion. But I believe that we've talked before about the way that we would, the purchase price was, is negotiated through not just working with our sales member, but also working through a cooperative buying program that is out there that, I'm sorry, what was it? HGAC. And so that's already been negotiated. We have a quote. We've seen the quote. So that would be what you would be approving, is that we move ahead with a purchase order and getting that process started with them.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for either Chief Mathias or Ms. Landis?
I might just real quickly add, I don't believe we've taken any other financing except local banks here in my time that I can remember. They've always been able to compete with. But I think they offer that as Pierce offers that to other communities. I mean, all communities, and some of them take that option. But I do like the local option. So.
Sure.
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
taking into account that my husband and I were victims, we actually woke up shortly after we got married and our whole apartment was on fire. And we were certainly glad that the fire department was, at that time we were living in Minnesota, was available and was able to get there and help us get safely out. And so every time the fire department comes and asks for help, I remember that could be a family here in our community. And I appreciate what they do with their service. And with that, I would make a motion to approve to purchase a new fire truck.
Well said.
Or
Thank you.
fire engine. Truck engine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Crowley?
And I vote yes too. Motion approved. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Commissioners.
That will move us on to comments by our city manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Richard Neinstead, City Manager. Couple of things to look forward to. We are in the final discussion phases of another housing development in town, and if things go right, you should get your first look at the final plat and the development agreement on Monday, and hopefully we get this moved forward and you get to see it on your March 16th agenda for final approval. Tyler Ellsworth will also be with us, and he'll explain to you the nuances of this, but we need to do some cleanup in the coves in regards to TIF documents and TIF agreements. Since there really has not been any TIF project, there was an agreement that was done years ago, wasn't used, and we just need to take it off of there. It was requested by one of the major buyers, and after the city attorney and I took a look at it and talked to Tyler, he felt the easiest way is just to bring it before you and get it explained out and just get it negated. So that's it.
Thank you. I will move us on to comments by the city commissioners. Commissioner Kaler.
I want to welcome Michael. I don't know that he's still on with us, but certainly we'll be excited to have him and his expertise in the city of Ottawa. Also want to thank Mrs. Campbell's students for being here and Mrs. Campbell for being here. I do think it's an important part of the process that they realize that government here, even closest to you, really does make a difference, and everything that happens here and as it grows makes a huge difference in your everyday life.
Thank you. Commissioner Graves.
I have no comment tonight.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore.
Yeah, I'm also want to welcome Mr. Hall. I can see already we're going to get you busy right away with this new subdivision and plat to talk about soon. So we're hit the ground running right away. So be prepared when you get here. And also, I just wanted to comment too that I will be absent on the 16th at our regular scheduled meeting. And so with already Tom gone, the leave comes down to 3. And I hate to that we couldn't meet if one of the 3 of you couldn't be there. And if it would happen that way, we could, if it'd be all right to meet on the evening of the 16th instead of at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I just want to throw that out there. We can talk about it maybe at our next study session, but I would hate to, we couldn't meet if we only had 2 of us here. So we want to certainly make sure that we could all three of you could be here or plan an evening meeting. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. I too want to echo the thoughts of Michael. Coming here, I think he'll be a great addition to our community and certainly to community development, and certainly Ms. Campbell and her students. I know last time I think they were here, as soon as the time was up, they ran out. So I don't know if I'm just quicker at getting it over with, or they actually stuck around because it was a good time.
I think you got 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, we'll hurry up and get it over with then. That's all my comments. We have a few announcements. We have a study session March 7th at 4 p.m., a study session March 14th at 4 p.m., March 16th, we'll have that discussion about when we want to meet, but it's typically at 10 a.m. And then March 23rd, we have our joint city, county, and USD 290 meeting